Chapter 10.1. The verb gustar and similar verbs in Spanish are taught in a different section because the way we conjugate them are different from the regular verbs. Usually the regular verb, remember, we basically indicate the subject, and then the end of the verb changes according to the present, the past, the future, and so on. The verb gustar and verbs like aburrir or encantar, they conjugate in a different way, in a different manner. So if you want to say I like, in Spanish you say me gusta. Me gusta means I like. So you see, instead of saying yo, I use me. Me gusta, and the verb, as you see, is ending the same all the way down, right? So you say me gusta means I like, te gusta means you like, le gusta means he or she or usted like, nos gusta, we like, os gusta, you like, in Spain vosotros, right? And les gusta is they like or ustedes like. So that's the way you say I like, you like, he likes, and so on. So you don't say yo gusto, tu gustas. No, that doesn't work like that. It has to be me gusta, te gusta, le gusta. Sometimes you can add in the front a mí, comma, me gusta, a ti, te gusta, and so on. But basically using me gusta, te gusta, and le gusta, you're saying I like, he likes, we like, right? The same thing with aburrir. Me aburre, I get bored, or you get bored, so on. O encantar, for example, I love to do this, I love to do that. You say me encanta, te encanta, le encanta. We have here the verb encantar. So, for example, me encanta is I love to do this, te encanta, you love or you enjoy doing this, le encanta, nos encanta, os encanta, or les encanta. So the same system as gustar. Now, how we use this? Well, the verb gustar and encantar, this group of verbs, basically, if you refer to one object, for example, me gusta el libro, you see it's only one book. In this case, gusta is singular. So you say me gusta el libro, te gusta el libro, le gusta el libro. But if you like more than one books, in this case libros, right? In this case, you'll see that instead of gusta, we use gustan. So it's a singular form for one object, and it's a plural form for more than one. So if you like books, or you like cars, or you like anything more than one, it's going to be gustan. Also, we use singular when we like an activity, when it's not an object, but it's something we like to do. For example, I like to read, I like to drive, I like to eat, whatever. So in this case, you will not say me gustan. So it's going to be me gusta estudiar, me gusta trabajar. You see the verb is always infinitive, so it's going to be always I like and then the activity, right? And you will see that gusta in this case is singular. So we use singular when we refer to one object. We use singular when we refer to an activity, but we use plural when it's more than one object. When you like more than one car, more than one book, and so on. Okay, so that's the way we conjugate these verbs. And again, we usually explain this in a different place from the regular verbs, because the regular verbs, they work a little bit different. Okay. Now, the second topic we have for today is the direct object pronouns. What is this? I mean, the direct object pronouns is a very useful technique we have in both languages, in English and Spanish. And we use that because we want to compress sentences. We want to make the sentence shorter, it's easier to use, it's less redundant. And basically, if we didn't have this technique, we will have something like, I like the book, I take the book to my house, I put the book on the table, I take the book to, So we will have to be repeating book, 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 book all the time, right? So using these techniques allows you to say something like, I take the book, I put it, I take it. So you see, you use book once and then you start compressing the sentence. It makes the language easier to use, more flexible, it's more, useful. It's very useful, this technique. So how we use this? Well, the first thing you have to do is to identify what the direct object is. Okay. So, for example, the direct object is the part of the sentence that answers to the question what. For example, if you say she buys the house. Now, the question is, what is she buying? What is she buying? She's buying the house. So this is the direct object. Okay. So if you say I give the book to John. So in this case, what I am giving, Well, the answer is going to be el libro. El libro is the answer to the question what I am giving, right? What I'm giving the book. Elsa envía la carta. What is Elsa sending? Well, she is sending the letter. So this is the direct object. We buy bread. So what are we buying? We're buying bread. So always the answer to these questions is the direct object, okay? Marcos escribe el libro. Marcos writes the book. What is Marco writing? Marcos writing the book. So once you identify the direct object, then we're going to replace that with the personal pronouns, the pronouns that we the direct object pronouns that we need for these situations. So you see that in this case I'm using la, I'm using lo, I'm using la here, I'm using lo, and using lo right here, right? Why we do that? Well, we're going to see that in a few minutes, but two things I want to point out. You see, in this case, I'm using la because la casa is feminine and is singular, so la casa is going to be la. El libro is masculine singular, so in this case it's going to be lo. La carta is feminine singular, well, it's going to be la. Pan is masculine singular, it's going to be lo. Y el libro is masculine singular, it's going to be lo. Well, I'm going to explain to you that the ones we need for specific situations, but I want to point out one more thing. You know, in English, this situation, it goes, the direct object pronoun, it goes after the noun. In Spanish, you see that we put it in front in this particular situation. So in English, you will say, she buys the house, she buys it. Okay? So in this case, will be, ella compra la casa y ella la compra. In Spanish, instead of going after the verb, it goes in front. Ella la compra. She buys it. Okay? Yo lo doy. I give it. I give it. In English, it will be at the end. Ella la envía. She sends it. Ella la envía in Spanish. Okay? So just keep in mind this. In Spanish, when you form these structures, basically the direct object pronoun, instead of going after the verb, it has to be moved in front of the verb most of the times. I will explain to you, in other chapters, other situations that that you use the direct object and it goes sometimes after the verb. But in this case, it's going to be always in front of the verb. Okay. Now, the pronouns that we use in Spanish for compressing the sentences, remember the direct object could be also a person. So sometimes it could be, if it's referring to me, it's going to be me. If it's referring to you, the foreign two, right, it's going to be te. And then if it's referring to object, there's going to be lo or la, depending if it's masculine or feminine, singular, right? Nos is referring to us, os is referring to vosotros, and los, las is when it's referring to sometimes people, but most of the times objects or things, masculine, feminine, singular, and plural, depends on how we use it, okay? Now, for example, if we have something like this, yo compro el libro, so remember, the way it works in Spanish is that you're going to identify the direct object, in this case libro, what I'm buying, I'm buying the book, right? So this is the direct object. Remember, according to this, objects, if it's singular, if it's masculine singular, it's going to be lo. So in this case, we need lo. So it's going to be yo lo compro, okay? So that's the structure of the sentence in Spanish. If this verb, if the sentence is negative, instead of affirmative is negative, the no that we use to make the sentence negative, I have been telling you so far that it usually goes in front of the verb, right? But in this case, I'm telling you that if you have to make this sentence negative, you're going to place no right in front of the direct object. So the sentence will be yo no lo compro. I buy it, I don't buy it. So remember, when you want to make negative a sentence that is compressed with the direct object, always no in front of the direct object. No in front of the verb, in front of the direct object, okay? Now, Marta vende la mesa. Marta vende la mesa. So you want to compress that. La mesa is the direct object because it's what she's doing, right? She's selling what? She's selling the table. So in this case, it's going to be Marta la vende. La vende. So Marta sells it, okay? Sells it, okay? So in this case, if you want to make it negative, it's going to be Marta no la vende, okay? Juan prefiere el abrigo. Juan prefers the coat. Juan lo prefiere. Tú das las cartas. You give the letters. Tú las das. Las cartas is feminine plural, so the pronoun we use is las. Pedro envía los paquetes. Pedro sends the packages. So in this case, Pedro los envía. Luisa quiere la ensalada. Luisa la quiere. Nosotros preferimos esa computadora. We prefer that computer. Nosotros, la computadora es feminine singular, right? Preferimos. Ellos compran la casa. They buy the house. Ellos la compran. Okay? Now, for example, if you want to say she in Spanish, how do you say she? Ella. She likes. Le gusta. She likes the book. Le gusta el libro. She doesn't like the book. No le gusta el libro. She doesn't like the house. No le gusta la casa. Does she likes the book? ¿Le gusta el libro? ¿Le gusta el libro? No, she doesn't like the book. No, no le gusta el libro. We love. Nos encanta. I buy the book. Yo compro el libro. I buy it. Yo lo compro. She calls John. Ella llama a Juan. She calls him. Ella lo llama. She called him today. Ella lo llama hoy. John calls her and then she calls me. Juan la llama later, más tarde. Then, después, he calls me. Él me llama. I call Teresa and then I call John. Yo llamo a Teresa y después, I call John. Yo llamo a Juan. Then, they both call me. Then, después, ellos, both, ambos is both, call me, me llaman.